Back at it again for another edition of Card Central 365, powered by Gray Bar here on STL Sports Central. All content brought to you by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Joe Roderick, Brenden Schaeffer with you here on a Monday as the Cardinals get set to face the Reds. And I mean, when you have the option of two Monday Night Football games or Monday Night Raw, the Cardinals have to be at the top of that list for viewing this evening.
Joe, you better be nice, man. Look, nice win yesterday. Cardinals are rowing the boat in the right direction right now. Final homestand of the season. Get psyched, man. Yeah, I mean it is sort of one of those deals where I don't need to see the Raw Cup. I know you drink out of it. I don't need to see the Monday Night Raw pajamas either. I'm sure you have those. Andy mentions it. Last homestand. It is a bummer. Hate to see that baseball is ending, and I do as well. But I think from a Cardinals perspective, it feels almost a little bit merciful because
local baseball is ending. Local baseball is ending.
That's true.
Imagine all the great teams that we get to watch in October, like the Mets and the Yankees.
Well, I don't know about the Mets, but the playoffs are going to be I do think the playoffs are going to be really compelling this year because it does kind of feel wide open in a lot of ways, which is maybe all the more.
I have absolutely no idea.
Either. No, I have no idea because, like, you think about the Brewers, they don't have maybe the style that plays well in the postseason, but they are elite in the regular season. And so kind of like guessing at who might have that hot October is going to be interesting to see. Andy also will be watching Raw. I will be watching the Cardinals. I will be joining everybody here post haste after the Cardinals game for the post game show with Luke Slaybaugh. But I do understand if you're kind of, you're feeling like you're going through the motions as a Cardinals fan almost at this point. We're watching the remainder of the season. I do think there are some things we can still glean, but it is kind of ending with a whimper. That's fair to say.
Yeah. And I have yet to get into playoff mode, I guess. But I, just kind of watching from afar at some of these teams and looking at it. I mean, the Dodgers, I know, were kind of limping into the playoffs, a lot of injury concerns with that team, and it kind of seems like teams like the Phillies or the Padres have just kind of been coasting, like we've known since June that they're playoff teams, and from that standpoint it's okay. And then the Cubs just kind of got blown away by the Brewers in the Central, so it's one of those instances too. So and then you get the comments like Henry Wells here that they are this is where Brenden stands as far as this. I wish I could put our text exchanges up on the screen for how many times Brenden has reminded me that the Cardinals are still only 4 games back in the wild card. And I had to go check it again. And it's another one of those instances where we talked about this on Friday, where you look at that Mariners series and you're like, God damn it. If you just would have won 2 of those games that were close games, like, you'd be in the mix here. But then I think you look back to Saturday, and I listened to that entire meltdown. I was just going from Cardinal affiliate to Cardinal affiliate, driving home from Champaign on Saturday. And I was laughing. I was laughing at the meltdown of it because it epitomizes what this season has been, of just letdown after letdown after letdown. But it happened it happened in half a game. Instead of just, hey, we have a chance, and you go out there and you lay an egg, you go out there in that game on Saturday and you're like, hey, look at them, 6-1 off the Miz. Like this is a nice outing. And then you just look at this, you're like, oh my God, like as soon as it like went from 6-2 to like 6-4, you're like, they're gonna lose this game.
It was like 7-4, and I said, I think it's 7-4, 2 runners on base in the 9th for Riley O'Brien, and I said, I think it's gonna go the other way. But like I may have even texted you at that point. I texted somebody. I said they're gonna lose this game, and Leahy came in, tried to do what he could, but then in the extra inning situation, it was over from there when the Cardinals couldn't get enough on the board, and so. Yeah, you look at that, and now you'd be able to say just one from the Mariners series, and certainly there was one there for the taking. You'd be 75-75 if you get Saturday and one of those from Seattle, and the Reds right now are 74-75. They come to town tonight. You'd be 2 games back, and it would very much be in play. And so, like, that's where it's just extremely frustrating. Saturday.
Sad thing is that technically it still is in play. I mean, you look at it and
Yes,
you're like,
but
wait, I guess it's in play, but
Saturday killed it.
yeah,
Truly,
you
it
have to.
wasn't even Seattle. It was Saturday that killed it. If there was ever, I mean, because you with Saturday alone, you'd be 3 back, right? I
Like I
mean,
tweeted at you, when you tapped out weeks ago, it doesn't hurt as much.
I
You're able to
guess
just kind of laugh at it at that point.
emotionally divesting was probably the appropriate measure for diehard Cardinals fans because you're gonna
I
fall a little
held
bit
on, yeah,
short, but you're going to be able to look back and it wasn't by much, you know.
and I know I held on a lot longer than some people. I know there were people that probably back in June, May, April, February that were, oh, this team's terrible. They're going to lose
February.
100 games. But also, I will
They
say
were wrong,
this.
by the way. Those people were wrong. I mean,
Yeah,
that's not what this team ended up being.
you can go back and if you rewatch Saturday's show, post game show, Luke and Randy on Saturday's post game show,
Yeah.
the anger of
People,
fans on
yeah,
that.
because they knew what
Again,
it meant. They knew what it meant.
again, we have talked about the fans have spoke out and they said from the beginning of the season that they wanted this to be a rebuild, a runway, a rebuild.
Yeah.
You cannot get upset when the bullpen blows games if you wanted a rebuild and that
Yes.
rebuild meant you traded away your entire bullpen. You
Well,
cannot get mad at. You can't get mad at. No, if you want this team
I
to
think you
rebuild,
can.
you can't get mad at
Yeah.
losses.
But I don't know if I fully agree with that. You can't get mad at. It depends on who you're being mad at. You can't get mad at John Mozeliak for trading away your bullpen, and so now it's Riley O'Brien. Because by the way, Riley O'Brien has been brilliant since taking over, really as the ninth inning go-to guy for the Cardinals post trade deadline. You're not necessarily mad at anybody in particular. It's nobody's fault that happened. It can be very frustrating because you're a fan of the team. So like I don't think it's opposed to the method of how we got here as much as it's, well, that sucks. We were right there and could have won this game. Should have won this game, but then you thought it was one. I think that's what was so frustrating. You thought it was one. The Mets had been spiraling, and you would be within 3 games if that game had gone differently. And so it's okay to be mad, but I don't think you can complain and feel as though you were told one thing and you're getting another. Is that a fair distinction to
I
make?
get what you're saying. Yeah. Like you can't be mad at Ollie for that. Like you can't be pissed at him and go,
Right.
God,
Yeah.
I can't believe you put that guy in the pitch that. Who else did you want?
That's your guy. No. I did not watch our post game. I know that it was fiery from what I was told. But that's one of those where you're right. You can't, if there were people that were going, "Oh my gosh, it's XYZ's fault and fire so and so." No. That's not a game where you can say you got to fire somebody. That's just, you gave it up. You gave it up, and you'd be closer to a wild card spot if you hadn't. But I think in our hearts, everybody kind of already knew this wasn't a wild card team. But when the numbers say that you'd be within a game or two if you just get a couple different results over the past week, that's where it gets confounding. Because as you said, I already gave up. Like if you already gave up mentally, which clearly a lot of y'all didn't based on the comment section on Saturday night. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that fire and passion would still be there if people weren't in the back of their heads going, the number can dwindle. Like, I feel like people have been guarding their hearts a little bit with their comments in our comment section on the days where, oh, this team stinks, they're going to lose 100. Like, nobody really ever believed that. You know what I mean? Nobody ever thought it was going to be that bad, but you knew where it would land. It would land somewhere in the middle, and that the middle wouldn't be good enough, and you were tired of that. And so you almost, in a way, I think people hoped it was 2023. People hoped it was 91 losses, because if that had been the case, it would be easier to let go when they know the responsible thing to do emotionally right now is to let go. But it's hard because numbers say you were in it until a couple of these recent mishaps.
And yeah, it just feels a lot different. Like you could go back into I want to say you can go back and you can go back to the 2010s when in the seasons they missed the playoffs and kind of look at you can kind of look at some of the teams with that missed out and they were in it going to that final weekend.
Yeah.
And you could get mad at those teams. And this just seems so different because this just seems, again, like those you were waiting for it and waiting for it and waiting for it to finally click. And with this team, it's just kind of like, oh, all right, let's move along. And Let's just get past this.
It did feel that way, but when the numbers tell you that the past week is really what cost you, if they were 75 and 75 this morning, how different is this conversation? I think you would have to at that point go, okay, what's the pitching matchup for the Red series? What are we looking at with this? I think it would be completely different. And that, I'm telling you, we're probably 2 pitches away over the course of the last week to having that be real.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could isolate maybe 1 pitch from the Mariner game that went extras and 1 pitch from Saturday. And then it would be a completely different, instead of, a dozen people here talking with us, we'd have 100 people going, are you serious? The Cardinals are coming. I mean, they're on their way. It's that the margins over the past week, I don't think anybody knows that better than the guys in that clubhouse, have been remarkably slim. That's got to be deflating to be watching the scoreboards and noticing that the Mets just lose every freaking game and you couldn't come up with a win in Seattle or cap off Saturday. Credit to the Cardinals, honestly, for winning yesterday. That would have been very easy to just go, oh my gosh, our season ended on Saturday. That they won that game, that's impressive to me, regardless of where it goes from here.
The Cardinals again. They entered this game tonight, 4 games back. It's a fun final 4 teams to face off against to end the season. When you look at all 4 teams still in the playoff mix, I mean, all of these games matter.
Oh yeah,
we could sit here and we can sell ourselves on the fact that the Cardinals are still in it and 4 games back,
right?
But you are facing 3 teams that are above you, and you could ruin the Reds' playoff chances. You could ruin the Giants' playoff chances. And I'd have to look at the exact standings. I'm not sure if you could ruin the Cubs' chances of hosting
maybe
playoff games. Yeah. I'm not sure if that's if that's a possibility. I don't know if it'll even matter by the time you get to those final 3 games of that series. So if you want to,
Padres and Cubs are very. I mean, Padres are a game and a half or so. No, it's more than that. I apologize. It's like 3.5 back of the Cubs, and they're well clear of the Mets. So, I mean, unless the Padres go on a heater, but by then we'll know, right? That's the last series of the season. So by then we'll know whether or not the Padres and Cubs are maybe a game separated. That wouldn't be terribly hard to have happen. But you're right. I mean, the Cardinals right now are behind the Reds by a game and a half. You sweep the series, you're clear of the Reds for sure. You're still below 500. It's really all about the Mets, though. I mean, the Mets, they could lose, and they're playing the Padres this week, so that helps. It's Nationals, Cubs, Marlins. Marlins have been a team that have been kind of feisty. My prediction is probably for the Mets to just kind of, find a way to stop taking on water, and they can get back to some sort of equilibrium. Even if they didn't, you do have like the Giants are even more in it than the Reds are, a game ahead of the Reds. I don't know. You're playing the right teams to be able to pass the teams that aren't the Mets. The Diamondbacks, you don't get to play them. But if you somehow beat up on the Reds I know I'm still doing the thing that everybody says not to do. It's just, that's why I'm telling you, it would have taken no more than Saturdays alone. They'd be 74 and 76, and I would be given the whole spiel. Forget the Seattle thing. Forget that entirely. 74 and 76, I would be given the spiel today about how the Cardinals are still in it, because the 2 of the 3 teams ahead of them who aren't the Mets, they play directly. So, even just taking 2 or 3 from those teams, you gain the game on those teams that you needed. The Mets fall out, 82 wins makes a playoff spot. Like I would be absolutely putting on the sales pitch today. I can't do it because of what happened Saturday night. And that is really frustrating to realize almost after the fact, because that was a game that you counted as a win in the 5th or 6th inning. You just did.
And right now, the Cardinals, according to DraftKings, are plus 4,000 to make the playoffs. Plus 4,000. So a better chance for them to make the playoffs than Ahmad Hardy to win the Heisman Award as of this very second.
And that's probably right, because they just won't give it to a running back. But Bo Prabula's Heisman is 4,500. It's almost even. Bo to win the Heisman or Cardinals to make the playoffs? What's more likely? Both are obviously happening, but which one would be more likely is the question.
That being said, those are odds that you can get over on DraftKings, and new Missouri customers can get $300 in bonus bets when we launch on December 1st. DraftKings Sportsbook is coming to the Show Me State on December 1st. You download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and place a $5 bet when we go live, and use the promo code STL Sports. That's promo code STL Sports, and grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when we go live on December 1st. That's code STL Sports in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offers. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Joe Roderick, Brenden Schaeffer with you. Cardinals and Reds tonight. Zach Little against Matthew Liberatore. And just looking at Liberatore's seats, and again, we are 2 weeks away. We have 4 series left in the season. And how many starting pitchers have the Cardinals used this year?
Less than the number I would have expected. I mean, coming in.
I mean, has anybody else started outside of the opening day starting 5? And then, no, Steven Matz did start a game. Steven Matz started a game. So have they gone the whole year with only 7 starting pitchers?
It's McGreevy and Matz. Are those the 2? Who are we forgetting?
Those are. That's what I'm trying to think. If anybody else did they use an opener at any point this season?
No, they don't. They don't do the opener thing.
Well, I know, but with all of the doubleheaders they had, I'm just saying with all that kind of makes it even more fascinating when you look at how many doubleheaders they had. That if it would have only been 7, unless we are just absolutely missing somebody.
It is. I just looked at it.
That's incredible.
2 for Matz, 13 for McGreevy. Which, by the way, I told everybody to calm down. McGreevy would get more than a dozen starts, and I know that maybe people wanted even more than a dozen, but we ended up getting a fine idea. I know. We ended up getting a very fine idea, though, on Michael McGreevy, and I will defend to the death the way the Cardinals handled their rotation from the beginning of the season up until mid to late June, up until the spot where Eric Fetty started combusting, and they waited probably 2 to 3 starts too long to yank the cord on that. And there were some trying moments for Michaelis as well. And ultimately, I think that's an interesting debate to look back on. If people are intellectually honest with themselves, did the Cardinals handle Michaelis correctly this year? I would maybe argue in retrospect that they did. Just knowing how many injuries came at AAA. And you could also say, well, Brenden, if they had anybody else in there that would have been, a 4 ERA instead of 4.8, they might be in a playoff spot. I would have to concede that as well. Like the degree to which, let me put it this way. John Mozeliak could have done a little bit, and I'm going to blame ownership too. They could have been a little bit more willing to aid this team. It wouldn't have cost them very much money to do it, I think, going back to the winter. And it could have been the kind of help that they would have needed to be able to be a team that's a couple games above 500 right now instead of a couple games below. But ultimately, like, Michaelis has made through the season, and you had the prospects all get hurt, and so you kind of needed that stability. But the Fetty one is really what burns me up when it comes to McGreevy. But yeah, to your point, only 7 starters have been used by the Cardinals all season long. 13 by McGreevy. Everybody else is above 20.
They used 11 starters last season.
Yeah. No, if you would have set an over-under before the season, try to go back and think, what would you have, would it have been 8.5, 9.5? Knowing the age of the rotation and Sonny Gray always ends up with a nip and tuck here and there. He's going to be on for 15 days. Like, that would have been at least 8.5 would have been my over under. And they're sitting here with 7. Now they could still get to 8 or 9 if the last week can get crazy, but
yeah. And I'll tell you this kind of goes back to the point that I made when we did the show together on Friday. That does terrify me a little bit going into next season. And I don't know if I know Hunter was working on an article to kind of go over it for next year, but I said, as far as Andre Palante goes, like he has a spot here, because if you're only using 7, that means there's nobody else. Like, I know Quinn Matthews was hurt a little bit this year. I know you had some other guys, but you just kind of look in the system and it's like, yeah, there's nobody coming up and ready to go for this team.
Not for day one, but by mid-season next year, is it conceivable that you've got Quinn Matthews in the rotation and maybe Liam Doyle? Maybe that's too crazy, but he had a pretty good couple of innings in Springfield. I don't know if that's been discussed, but I think he threw 2 scoreless innings, gave up a couple or 2 or 3 hits, but went scoreless, no walks, 3 strikeouts. And that was like, hey, throw him up to Double-A because we simply need somewhere for him to go to get some innings, because the A-ball teams had already finished their season. And I mean, it could be very quick ascent for Liam Doyle if he's the number 5 pick that people wanted him to be. I get your point on that. It just makes me wonder if it's just a couple $1,000,000 here and there that they pad the depth of the rotation with in the offseason, and then you're ready to compete a little bit more than they did this year and ready to accept a Quinn Matthews or a Liam Doyle in June, July, August, if and when those guys should be ready to arrive. But have you seen the news, Joe? We should probably talk
Yep,
about the
I was
official
just
news.
getting to this. Cardinals just sent out a text. Nolan Arenado has been activated from the injured list. Jose Fermin option down to Memphis. I believe Jose Fermin was our STL Sports Central player of the game yesterday in the Sunday game, and now he is optioned back down to Memphis with Nolan Arenado back. And in the
Imagine this.
I would yeah.
Imagine they win Saturday and we're talking about Arenado back. And what if his shoulder is a little better? He can be a little bit more offensively. We know he's good defensively. Lineup is starting for a while there. The Cardinals were getting by with half of a lineup, really. Like 1 through 5 was guys that you want in there. 6 through 9 most days was like someone underperforming or someone that's just up from AAA. Now they're going to have a pretty full lineup almost. And I'm telling you, it's frustrating that this team isn't at 500 this morning because I would be telling you a completely different tale. Especially Arenado getting back could give the team some juice. I know that it might be just like an afterthought because if he hits like he has been, it doesn't make a difference. But if he is rejuvenated at all, and there's like let's say it's a walk-off win tonight or something. Imagine that to put him a game above 500 and the Mets lose. I mean, that's what frustrates. That I just can't stop thinking about it because it's not as far away from being a reality as people probably in their heads are imagining today.
Brenden Schaeffer's on the postgame show tonight. If the Cardinals win,
Yeah.
I would recommend
I want to see a
tuning
damn
into
win.
that.
If they win, I will be pumping the sunshine tonight because especially if the Mets lose. I don't know if they play today. Are they off on a Monday? They do not play today. So the Cardinals can gain a half a game on the Mets. Just saying there's a chance. I don't know.
Post-game show coming your way after the final out is made. And I'll go back to this, Andy, from earlier in the chat. Have either of you been to Oracle Park, where the Cardinals will be next week? For that, I will tell you, I have been to Oracle Park once, but it was for a Metallica concert in February. This was 10 years ago when Super Bowl 50 was in San Francisco. I went there to see Cage the Elephant and Metallica play at Oracle Park.
Nice.
On a Friday, Saturday night in February. Little cold. It was a little cold there right by the bay.
I'll say.
I have no food suggestions.
Well, yeah, it's in San Francisco.
And it's by the bay and it's February. So it's still going to be, it was a little cold. I had a jacket. But I would say I know the garlic fries are big out there at all the California stadiums. If they serve them up the way they do at Dodger Stadium, I would say get the garlic fries.
And I hear the craft beer is good out there too. I've seen that. I've seen that there's good craft beer out there. I don't know. That's
all the help we're getting from us. Yeah, that's all the help you're getting.
I would love to go.
That is one that is that's top of my bucket list. I'm at 20, I think 20
You're
of 30 stadiums.
Yeah.
So that's one I have yet to get out to, and I need to make it out there in the next season or two. That's going to do it for our show today. As I mentioned, Brenden is on post game tonight. If the Cardinals win, I will tell you it'll be very worth listening to and tuning into for that tonight. So I'll be scoreboard watching, and if they win, I'll be tuning in as well right here on STL Sports Central. Hey, all content here brought to you by DraftKings, and each and every day, Card Central 365 is powered by Gray Bar. He's Brenden Schaeffer. I'm Joe Roderick. We'll talk to you next time.